They really just added the Illuminati triangle into the game and called it a day, huh, ladies and gentlemen? Took freaking Bill Cipher out here and said, yep, we have discovered our new best item for this DLC we're making. Good job, Gearbox. Good job. Well, anyway, as you can see here today, ladies and gentlemen, we are here to talk about the Unstable Transmitter, a new green item added in Risk of Rain 2 Secret of the Storm DLC, which will teleport you to a random location after reaching 25% health, and before teleporting, you will explode for 350% damage, and the effect has a cooldown of 2 minutes. Pretty clear to understand. The effect itself has variable use, I would say. It can be confusing to just get shot down to low health and find yourself in an area you weren't expecting, because the teleporting away is definitely, as it says, random. It's within a around 100 to 200 meter radius from your character, so you can never go too far with the activation of this item. However, you could unfortunately teleport yourself into a more dangerous situation. I would say most times that does not happen. Most times, this item does have a niche use in that if you're in the middle of getting beaten down to low HP, it'll try to get you into safety and hopefully in an area where you can recover your health. Now, that isn't what always happens. However, there is a use case for it. The problem with this item is that it is an item made under Gearbox, which means this description is wrong. Now, not all of it. The 25% threshold is right, the damage it is dealing is correct, and the damage added per stack is correct. However, this effect has a cooldown of 2 minutes, minus 5% per item stack. That would imply that every time you get an additional stack of the Unstable Transmitter, the 120-second timer for the cooldown of this item would go down by 6 seconds. That is not true. In fact, this game is underselling you the value of stacking this item, because it is closer to a minus 20% cooldown per stack, which is around 24 seconds less blah, blah, for every single stack of this item. So, if you've been fooled into believing stacking this item isn't worth it, I would tell you to think again, because just by getting 5 stacks of this item, you have essentially lowered the cooldown from 120 seconds to, well, I guess I have to give you specifics here. The cooldown of the Unstable Transmitter cannot be lower than 15 seconds. No matter how many stacks of this item you get, it will never go down below 15 seconds. Now what that means is 6 stacks is the most you should ever stack of this item if you're just looking to get the cooldown lower, because after 6 stacks, the secondary effect of cooldown lowering does not apply. However, the damage stacking will increase forever, so if you're interested in that, then that is something that you could keep stacking for. I just would not recommend it, because you could take an item like the Genesis Loop, which does, I believe, 6,000% damage at the same health threshold, and that would just show you that that item is much better for damage than this. Unstable Transmitter should be used to get to safety and for getting a lower and lower cooldown on the amount of time between getting to safety. Now, there is more interesting things to talk about with this item rather than the basic facts of how it works. I've given you a general explanation of how stacking works with this item and how the description is wrong. However, this item can be pretty damn good if you understand certain text with it and certain ways you can try and use it in the middle of a battle. So I'm going to show you the right ways to use it, and I'm going to show you when you should absolutely never use this item, of which there are both a good amount of cases to look for. Another day, another jaunt through Petrichor 5 as the greatest character ever envisioned by man or machine, the Commando. And if you want me to play as another character for this video, it will never happen unless I have to show off some unique mechanics, which I don't for this video. So Commando it is. Now, as I am trying to fill the dead airspace, I will be running around making money to buy myself an unstable transmitter, and I will see you when I get one. I have got one. That was very fast. So I'm not gonna sit here and prove all of my breakpoints for how the cooldown actually works, because that would require me to sit still and do nothing for 120 seconds. You're just gonna have to trust me that after this item gets activated, that little icon in the bottom left corner is not gonna show up again for a long time. And I am at the early game, so it's not really normal that you're gonna be going down to low health in an enemy encounter. However, if you find yourself in a dangerous situation in this game and you don't want to take the risk that maybe an enemy will hit you for 30% health when you're at 30% and just kill you rather than teleport you, then you can throw yourself off a cliff. As long as you're not on an eclipse mode where fall damage is lethal, you can just go bail. And when, well, bail as long as it lowers your HP low enough. Let me take a few hits so I'm in the range. So I'm here. I'm worried I might be dying to one of these Lemurians. So I'm going to go and get myself some safety. You can jump off and activate the unstable transmitter when it comes back. So the way the unstable transmitter works with fall damage is that once you get respawned to the last safe point you jumped off of, only then will the unstable transmitter activate. It won't activate when you're in the void. It will activate when you come back, which is why some of these enemies are now severely damaged, because they all got hit by my explosion. And quick side note as well, I believe some people understand that the unstable transmitter, when used by enemies with the artifact of evolution or just otherwise inherited by enemies, it will not harm the player character when the enemies explode next to you and teleport away. Now, many people have called that a bug. I would just say that that is a good game design decision, because if all enemies around you exploded for a, I believe, 25 meter radius of 300% damage anytime you knock them to low health, then it would be impossible to beat. There's already certain items that can't be inherited by enemies, like the antler shield, like razor wire, because me shooting the enemy with a razor wire would just be impossible to play against. So I think Gearbox balancing this item so that it does not hurt you when the enemies explode is actually a reasonable design decision, and it might be considered a bug to some, but I don't believe it's an issue that needs to be fixed. If enemies did get your effect for the unstable transmitter, including the damage, then things would be kind of messed up. You'd not be having a fun time playing this game. However, I am still waiting on my cooldown, which I guess should show you how long of a cooldown unstable transmitter has when you only have one stack of it. And it's why I'd say one stack of this item is really not that good. It gives you an extreme get out of jail card, but once it's active, you are pretty much not getting another second chance with this item if you only have one stack. 120-second cooldown is insane in this game. That is a similar cooldown to the plasma equipment. I don't remember its name. The freaking, why can't I put it on the screen, future me? That one. The item you get by going to Rally Point Delta in under 10 minutes. That one. I'm sorry, I have terrible memory about things that I shouldn't, but that's just, you got to deal with that if you want to be on this channel. And hey, speaking of wanting to be on this channel, if you like all these random guides to Risk of Rain 2 items, hit subscribe to become a member of Tldr Was Here's gang. I say I have a gang because it makes me sound cooler than I really am. Now, I did just get another unstable transmitter, and I'm not really gonna go out of my way to show you the active time up, but there's a timer in the top right corner. It activated at 5:25. if the game was correct, then you would see the icon pop back up at 7:31. However, at 7:19. However, the game is not correct, and you should expect to see that item pop back up in the bottom left corner of the screen at around 7 minutes even. And I will bet you that that is the case.
Boo! You stink!
Listen, man, I'm embarrassed, so I'm going to show you the first damage threshold with 2 unstable transmitters, and then I'm going to cut to the second to prove my point in a run where I don't suck and die against the Vagrant. So I teleported around 2:44. I'll show you when the cooldown activates. .420, of course. Okay, what kind of year is this video from? Get those edits off the screen right now, okay? Alright. So, I am basically showing you that I can't believe this was the timing I chose for this. Okay, so 420 is around 24 seconds less than 444, which is the time it would have gotten if there was only 1 stack, and if it was 5%, like the game said, it should have reactivated at 4:38, which it did not. So, Gearbox is lying, sky is blue, and fix your item descriptions, please. However, one new thing that you may notice on the screen is I have picked up a Power Elixir. And I picked up a Power Elixir because there are a lot of items in this game that activate under 25% health, Power Elixir being one of them. But there are some items that actually activate their effect before you get healed by the Power Elixir. If you pick up the Genesis Loop, for example, and you go down to 25% HP, you will get instantly healed by the Power Elixir. But before getting healed, you'll start exploding with the Genesis Loop effect. So I thought to myself, hey, damn, wouldn't it be awesome if the unstable transmitter activated and the Power Elixir fully healed you anyway once you got below 25% health? And I said that would have been awesome because that is not what happens. I'm kind of mad that that's not what happens, but nonetheless, it is the truth. I'm gonna get down to 25% HP, and I don't tell them. I just stay there and use up my freaking bottle of red Kool-Aid. I don't know if there's other colors of Kool-Aid, but this one is red. Why do I make content with these jokes? I need to improve my comedic chops before making guides on Risk of Rain 2. I think that's something I should have known from day one. So, now you may see I'm at 4 stacks of this item. The thing is, this item stacks so well. Minus 24% seconds per stack is very good for cooldown, that I'd recommend you getting up to the max cooldown rate if possible. You hit the max cooldown rate, as I said, when you get 6 stacks, because one of them only gives you the base stats, and every stack afterwards gives you a 20% cooldown lower. So, by hitting 6 stacks, you will get the minimum possible cooldown for this item. Now, one of the secondary benefits to having minimal cooldown with this item is that when you teleport with the unstable transmitter, you get 2 seconds of invincibility. They're very similar to the brief invincibility frames you get whenever you enter a new stage. They don't pop up on your bar like any other buff. It's something called hidden invisibility, but essentially after you activate the teleport effect with this item, you are not going to be able to be hurt by anything in the game for 2 seconds. Now, that's kind of like a reprieve amount of invincibility. It's not actually something you can really rely on, but it is a nice thing to activate, and it becomes marginally better for the lower your cooldown gets. Alright, I am back with the max stacks for cooldown in Risk of Rain 2. I know. Incredible work by a man who has only access to every single green item he wants because of the artifact of command. Now, minimum possible cooldown, as I said before, 15 seconds. Pretty easy to show off. As long as enemies exist on the stage who can do you harm, then, or wood cradles can do you harm, then you'll be able to see pretty quickly how much time it takes to recharge this effect. Did you just miss me entirely? What's going on, buddy? Thank you. Lemurians, you never let me down unless these chumps. So there you go. 11:19 should be back up, all good, at around 11:35. There you go, pretty basic. And I will show you as well with that other green item I got after activating this lunar portal, because I also wanted to show you something off there, how getting more stacks of unstable transmitter after this point does not give you any quicker cooldown. If it did, the reason it doesn't is because, like I said before, you get 2 seconds of invincibility upon teleporting. So if this was a permanent effect that could just keep going down and down and down the cooldown, then really you would be able to eventually hit permanent invincibility every single time. And I was wrong, it's not invincibility. Well, it's not invisible either. I am a fool. It shows up on the screen. I am the master of items in this game, and that is why I make content about it. But yeah, you get that brief invincibility. This item recharged in 15 seconds again, even though I have 7 stacks. And if it recharged any faster, then you would just be able to be invincible and then invincible and then invincible forever. So I understand capping the teleporting invincibility off, but on the other hand, it would be cool if this item didn't have a cap and you could just teleport forever. It would also be very stupid, but that's the kind of stupid stuff I'd like to see in this game sometimes. So that's most of what's going on with this item. It's not really that complicated. You'll notice as well that when I've teleported, I'm pretty much close to one-shotting enemies at this point. This guy's at full HP. Well, one-shotting, quote-unquote. I guess it's going to take a lot more to one-shot a Beetle guard. But that was a huge chunk of damage, because with this amount of stacks I have, I am dealing around 2,500% damage on every activation of this item, which is not nothing. Once you get the high stacks of this item, you start getting up to Genesis Loop levels. However, if you're only looking for an item to run on low HP builds, I would recommend Genesis Loop over this because it's much better damage-wise, and its cooldown is a lot easier to affect too. The Genesis Loop only starts out at, I believe, at 30% cooldown, maybe 15 seconds. 30%. What am I saying? 30 second, maybe 15. This item starts at the massive 120, and you have to stack it a lot before it goes down to a reasonable level. But only other thing I have to say about the unstable transmitter is that it is very much not an item you should ever pick up on certain stages. What stages are they? I'm gonna show you. Before I show you what stages you shouldn't use this on, actually, I wanted to show you a little quirk with this item. If you go to a stage like the Bazaar Between Time and you try to activate the unstable transmitter, it'll just not work. I just exploded there and I did not get teleported anywhere. That is because this stage only has one safe spot that it respawns you at, which is this little area here. No matter where you jump off, this is the only area you will ever get respawned. So I believe because of how that works, the unstable transmitter does not ever have a safe location to respawn you. So when it teleports you, it just teleports you nowhere. And the other little tidbit I wanted to give you is that this item works just like items like Delicate Watch and Shaped Glass and stuff like. It has the same interactions with all those items. If you pick up a Transcendence, then, or if you pick up a Shaped Glass, then the bar is going to lower itself to be 25% of your new HP, and the Unstable Transmitter is only going to activate when it hits that new HP threshold. Same things, just wanted to let you know. And you can see with that little invincibility there that this item is activating even though it isn't teleporting you. So if you somehow find a situation in this game where this item does not teleport you to a safe area, then what its effect will be is damaging explosion at low HP and 2 seconds of invincibility. Very nice. Do not ever come to the Void Fields, the Simulacrum, anything to do with the Void Fiend with the Unstable Transmitter. Why? Because, oh, I'm just sitting here trying to charge the teleporter, do. How are you doing down there, Mr. Golem? You get teleported right into the Void Fog, never to recover. And even when you're not fighting enemies, if you're running between vents in the Void Fields, you can just get teleported away, far away from the next safe spot, and be dead. Do not come to this item with the Unstable Transmitter. If you have to, if you want to fight the Void Fiend, scrap it. Thank you for watching. Pick up this item for certain cases. Can be fun to play around with. Don't pick it up for others. Can be terrible. Have a good day.